Hi. Hi, if you're coming on the replay. I am going to wait to see who jumps on live with me this afternoon, who is joining me for this live. A big hello if you are coming on. If you are joining me live, please jump on and say hi so that I know you're here. I would love to know who is with me and who's joining me as we kick off. Hey, Susanna. Hey. Let me know who else is coming on. Hey, Marie. Hey, Lou. So lovely to have you here. Hey, Taryn. Hey, Beck. Hey, Lise. So great to see you all. How is your day going? How's your Wednesday? I hope you're having a really beautiful day. I am. It is really overcast today, and I just had a nap. Which was really, really beautiful. Hello to everyone that's coming on. So good to have you here, to be spending the afternoon together. It's so nice to have any opportunity to be live together at the moment, right? I know for me that, I'm just absolutely loving any opportunity to be live together during the day, because obviously we're not able to get out so much right now, even though I'm very, very pleased that Western Australia just recorded, I think it's second day in a row of no new COVID-19 cases, which is really exciting. So fingers crossed we start to see that happening everywhere else in the world. So I'm going to dive in. Today I'm having a chat about what life looks like for me in isolation right now. And the reason that I wanted to share this is because I have found that so many questions that I'm getting at the moment from my masterminders and clients and community members is around how I'm spending my days. And I think that's for two reasons. First of all, there's more people working from home right now than ever before. And secondly, the second thing that I'm finding, hey, to everyone that's coming on, the second thing that I'm finding, in addition to there being more people working from home than ever before, is that anyone who is previously used to working from home is still probably experiencing something that I have been experiencing, and that is that it's so much harder to stick to a routine and really kind of move through things in a really powerful way when you don't have the opportunity to break up your day. I know for me, I'm like such a huge fan of doing things like working from coffee shops and working from cafes, and I can't do that right now. So there's obviously a new structure to my day, and for so many of us, that's what's been happening right now. So I wanted to share some things that are really working for me when it comes to structuring my days, laying things out and setting things up, so that I can be really productive and move forward with things and get shit done and just feel really fulfilled and satisfied and joyful in isolation ultimately. So this is very much rituals, tools, things that I'm using so that it supports me in both business and in life. So let's dive in. Okay, so I'm walking through quite literally what a day in my life looks like right now. So if you have any questions at all as I am going through, then please don't hesitate to ask away. I'm happy to answer them for you. So I, in the morning, wake up at about 6 o'clock. I am more committed than I have ever been to a morning routine. So previously, when I wasn't in isolation, a morning routine might have been going to Pilates, which I am really, really missing so much. Or it would be going for a walk, going to the coffee shop. It would vary because I would know that throughout the day, if I felt like I wasn't necessarily topped up from, how I'd spent my morning, I could make variances and do things like get outside at any time, go hang out in a coffee shop or whatever it might be. But now I'm being really, really strict around how I spend my morning. So I wake up at 6 o'clock. I'm kicking off with a workout. I'm kicking off with a workout that was recommended to me by my dear friend Kate, who I can actually see is on with us now, Kate Wilkinson. This one is thanks to you, my love. I'm doing the Center workouts, which is the Chris Hemsworth app. So Center, CENTR. And I'm really loving their daily high intensity workouts because they're like 20 minutes long. So there's just no excuse to not do them. And it's the real like get out sweat session, which I'm such a big fan of because I don't like spending all day working out. It's just not my favorite thing in the world. So I kick off with that. Then I get outside. So because it started getting a little bit later here in Western Australia, because we're coming into autumn, winter, it's starting to get a little bit later during the day. And so I'm kicking off with a workout and then I'm getting outside. So I have been swimming basically every morning up until this week because it's starting to get a little bit cooler. And I haven't yet developed all the courage that I need to get my wetsuit on every morning and go for a swim. So I've been waking up, doing a workout, then I have either been going straight in for an ocean swim or I've been going for a walk or both. I always use that time to either listen to the Think Up app, which is a really amazing app where you can record affirmations. So you can record I am statements that essentially support you with wherever you're at in your life or your business. And you can listen to them on repeat. And the reason I do that is because it helps me to reprogram my subconscious mind so that I'm always able to operate from that space of peak performance and really feeling like I am, I guess, progressing and growing constantly, right? Like never stopping learning and growing. And so I either listen to the Think Up app or I'll listen to a podcast. So some of my faves at the moment that I'm really, really loving, I'm really obsessed with Brene Brown's new podcast, Unlocking Us. I absolutely love it. I just think it's so good. I actually haven't thought about what other podcasts I'm loving at the moment. So bear with me because I'm going to bring it up because I know that this is so useful. So I use the Spotify app for podcasts, and what I do so that I know what podcasts I want to listen to, I create an April podcast playlist. So I create a monthly podcast playlist, and then when I'm scrolling through different podcasts, I add it to that monthly podcast playlist. So I have a playlist of all the podcasts that I want to listen to for that month. And then I go through and listen to them. So yeah, I'm listening to a lot of different business podcasts that's related to COVID-19 right now. I'm listening to, I'm listening to a lot of Unlocking Us by Brene Brown. I'm also listening to my girl Holly Azzopardi, a girlfriend of mine. She has a podcast called The Middle with another friend, Jordana Levine, which is so beautiful because, especially for right now, actually, because it feels like you connecting with girlfriends. It really feels like you're just connecting with girlfriends because they're just two gals having a chat, which is really nice. So they are my favorites right now. I always love Tim Ferriss. Yeah, they're my faves. Group podcast as well for all things health related. So I listen to a podcast. I also might, while I'm doing that, if I'm feeling really extroverted, I might use that time also to send some Voxer replies to girlfriends that have come in overnight. Lots of my girlfriends are based in the States and in London, so I might send some Voxers while I'm walking and reply to them. But I always do that morning routine. Right now I'm doing it solo because while Che and I are in isolation together, it feels really good to just start my day doing things like that solo. And having that time, I feel like there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm just going to switch Wi-Fi real quick. It feels really, yeah. So, all right, bear with me, loves. I'm just going to change really quickly to my because I can see that my internet is just not playing ball right now, which has been unfortunately all too common during isolation because everyone is on an internet. All right, let me see if I can switch this over. All right, I'm just going to switch it. Hopefully you, let's see how we go. Okay, that's going to be better. All right. Have you got me back? Let me know that you can see me okay, and I will keep moving with this. Hopefully we have got a much better internet now that I've switched over. Okay, I think we're good. Amazing. So then once we've done that, I then head home, I have a shower and eat brekkie. I usually do that pretty quick. I kind of try and move through that within about 30 minutes. Otherwise, I find that it would be very easy to just spend a whole lot of time getting dressed and getting ready for the day. And something that I've been doing in isolation that feels really good is I've then been spending half an hour to an hour, depending on the day, hanging out with Che. So we will have a coffee in the morning, which has been so nice to have that connection time before I properly dive into the day. Because otherwise, what I find is it's so easy to start working. And because we would normally do things like go to a restaurant together or, hang out and go for a drink together or whatever it might be, now we're able to have that like actual proper quality time together, which is just really, really wonderful. So I am then doing that, and then I get dressed. I'm dressed already, and then I sit down and at my desk at about 8:30. So solid morning routine. You'll notice at this point that there has been no work done. So when I first started my business, I would fall into really bad habits around working a lot and working really early. And I don't do that at all anymore. It just doesn't serve me in any way to get up and dive into work early. I find that, especially because I'm serving people at a really high level in, my mastermind and the Swift Inner Circle, I am really needing that solid time in the morning before I dive into my business, which I do in my office. So yes, there will absolutely be times where I work from other parts of the house, but I'm predominantly in my office working because when I do so, I've got the ability to get shit done. So now that we're here in the office, it's around about 8:30. Let me tell you how things kick off from here. So what I do is the night before, I know exactly what it is that I need to get done for that day. So we at Team Swift manage everything within the business through Asana. So Asana is our project management tool, and we manage the entire business through Asana, which is the best thing ever, and I highly, highly recommend it. And so I always know what I need to get done in my day because our projects are all laid out, and Nivek, my OBM, and I ensure we've got our tasks divided up. We know what we're both working on. We know what projects are ahead of us. And so everything is always split up, and I know what projects I have the next day because if I just look at my daily calendar, I'll see what tasks are laid out for the next day. But what I make sure I do is I know exactly what my priorities are within that. So if I have, say, 10 or 15 tasks, like lots of little bitty things, I make sure I know what my priorities are and what my non-negotiables are for the next day. So I write out what are the 2 to 3 things that are the most important things for me to do on that particular day, and I do those first where I can. So if possible for me to do those before I jump on Voxer with clients, before I jump into emails, before I do anything else, then I will do that because what I'm finding that right now, it's just so easy to not be as productive as I would like to be. It's just so easy to feel like I have so much time to do all of the things that there's not as much of a sense of urgency to get everything done as there once was. And so that's become something that's just a real priority for me, is to get those 3 things done early. Now, in addition to that, and this is something that I spoke about over on my Instagram stories yesterday, is that I am such a huge fan of time blocking. And I'm finding that I'm doing this more so than ever right now because, once again, it's easy to procrastinate in isolation. Who's finding that right now? Who's finding that they're just not as productive in isolation and they're finding it really, really easy to procrastinate? Give me an emoji in the comments if that is you. So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I time block my day. So in terms of what that looks like, essentially time blocking is me just going through my Google Calendar and looking at, and this happens the day before, so it's all ready for me to go, is that I look at, okay, so what are the things that I'm doing the next day? What are my key priorities and how long is that going to take? And so in between any calls, any commitments that I have, I make sure that I block out exactly what those tasks are, knowing how long they're going to take for me to get done. Because the reason I do that is because it's so freaking easy for our brain to tell us stories about how long something is going to take, or how much time we need, or how we don't have enough time, or we have too much time, or whatever it might be. But if we actually calendar block it out and we lay it out in front of us, we don't have any opportunity for our brain to tell us those stories, because it's laid out in front of us as evidence of, okay, you have an hour here and you're going to do this. Oh, okay, you have 2 hours here, you're going to do this. And so everything is awesome. Yep. And so everything is structured in a way that makes loads of sense and is really easy to action. It also helps with decision fatigue if you do that the night before. So if I sit at my desk, I don't drink coffee, I just drink tea. If I sit at my desk and I haven't really had any tea yet, and I'm trying to make like really big decisions about what I need to get done that day, but I can also see that I've got like 10 boxes from clients coming in. I've got a whole bunch of emails. I've got all these things from Nivek that I need to action in the business. Then it's really hard for me to work out exactly what is most important when I've already opened the floodgates to all the things that are coming at me in the business. So that's why it's just wildly, wildly important to be able to do that time blocking and get really, really clear on what all of that looks like the night before. Hello to everyone that's coming on right now. Okay, so that is what time blocking looks like. And so for me, another reason why time blocking is so powerful and important is because I'm at a stage in my business now where I have much less contact hours, which is a very strategic decision. So when I started in my business, I'm just getting comfy here. When I started in my business, I was completely one-to-one, fully booked in one-to-one for about 1.5 years. And then I changed the structure of my business. I scaled up so that I was able to move to a group model. And now I only take 1 or 2 calls during the day, if any. And I only take calls Tuesday to Thursday. So Monday and Friday, I usually have nothing in my calendar. And Tuesday to Thursday is when I take calls. There's a train coming past right now, so it's going to get a little loud in a second. So it's easy for me to compartmentalize the day, but it would also be really easy for me to just dive into something and keep working, because I don't know about you, but I freaking love what I do. I absolutely love what I do, and it would be really, really easy for me to just keep going and keep going and keep going. And so by ensuring that I'm time blocking my day, I make sure that I'm giving myself really solid breaks. So let's talk about what those breaks look like. So I take a proper hour lunch break. So I never ever eat at my desk in the office, ever. I always go down and sit on the couch or sit outside or sit at our kitchen bench. And I just spend that time having a proper break. I make sure that I jump off my phone. And I just obviously enjoy eating lunch. Food is like my favorite part of the day. And just spend that time having a little breather. And you know what? Here's the other thing I want you to know about what that has looked like for me in isolation. It has looked like a 20 to 30 minute nap basically every day, because showing up as a business coach right now means showing up as a leader to support people in their business. And we are, of course, in a pandemic, which has meant that leadership has looked really different for me. And it's meant that I've had to show up energetically in a new way. I'm used to showing up in a way where there are a lot of client wins, there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of amazing news day in, day out. And while I'm finding that I'm really getting that now, there was a period of a couple of weeks there when everything started to shift and change, that everyone was a lot of pivots in their business, and there was a lot of fear, understandably so, around what it meant for clients and their businesses. And so I was finding that I was needing so much more rest to show up as the leader that I wanted to be in my business. So I know that that is not obviously available and accessible to everyone. I don't have children right in my life, and I know that for many of you, you do. And so this is in no way designed to be oh, I'm so lucky because I get to nap because I don't have kids, but more of this is what I'm doing in my life right now. This is what's available to me right now. And there might be inspiration here where you're able to take components of what I'm doing and implement it in your life as well. So the other thing that I do when it comes to tasks is that any of the tasks that I have in my day that are like 5, 10, 15-minute tasks, I like lump them together in what I call my hour of power. So that is something that I learned from a dear mentor and friend of mine, Kate Byrne from Betty Means Business. She taught me about the hour of power, where all those little tasks that if you look at them in isolation, so if you look at them as just individual tasks, it looks like you have a shitload to do, right? You're like, oh fuck, I have about 20 things here that I need to do. Whereas if you group together those little things and you call it an hour of power, you suddenly feel like you have so much more spaciousness in your day. So I would really encourage you, if it feels good for you, to cultivate that hour of power in your own business and go, what are all the bitty things that I can do at the end of the day? They require less brain power from me. It's more administrative. And then I can just focus on those and get them all done in one block so that I can focus on the big creative work when my brain is most supercharged and ready to go, which for me is in the morning. Okay, so then I close my laptop around 5 o'clock. So I finish up my day around 5 o'clock. And if I haven't got something done that I really wanted to get done that day, then I treat time blocking like a game of Tetris. So I might go, okay, here's this like hour-long block of something that I didn't get done. And I pick it up from my Google Calendar and I move it to the next day. So time blocking is very much a game of Tetris of if I'm not getting something done here, I'm just going to move it to the next day or the day after that, knowing that I never ever beat myself up about it. It's all just I'm one human, things come up. I need to be flexible in my life and business if I want the kind of life and business that I so desire. And that means sometimes moving things around, and that is totally 100% okay. So unless I have a group call, so for example, tonight at 5 p.m., I have my Swift Inner Circle group call, which was why a nap was extra necessary today. But if I don't have any kind of group call in the evening, then I usually finish up around about 5, usually around 5. And so I will shut down the laptop and I do my to-do list for the next day, shut down the laptop, I will get outside again. So I'll go for a walk again, or I will go for a swim, or I will do something outside, and then I will cook dinner, or most of the time I will watch Tay cook dinner. Let's be honest, I don't do all the cooking in my house, and have a wine with him and spend time with him and rest and unwind from my day, whatever that looks like in that moment. And then we spend our evenings doing all sorts of things right now, from Zoom calls with family through to just the two of us chatting and connecting over a wine and food in the kitchen. We don't watch loads of TV. We're not huge TV people, but we did just finish watching Tiger King because, I mean, wow, it was like almost an essential. And essential viewing, if you haven't watched it, if you have watched it, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you haven't watched it, please do, because it's just absolutely wild. Or, we've been doing a whole bunch of different things. Like I've found that I'm baking more right now. I'll read my book on the couch in the evening, or all sorts of different things that usually do not revolve around doing work. If I'm having a particularly big or busy week, so for example, if I'm in a launch week or similar, then I'll be really intentional about how I work overtime. So I'll say, tonight I'm doing a night shift. So that means after dinner, I'm bringing a glass of wine into the office, I'm putting my blue blocker glasses on, and I am lighting a candle, and I'm going to do a couple of hours of uninterrupted catch-up work. And that feels really, really good for me. Or on the weekend, I'll create content, which is just like absolute bliss to me. But I'll always be really mindful about how I'm doing that extra shift, so that it's not just okay, I'm just going to keep working, because I learned this the hard way. For me, working was something that I just did by default, because I prefer working to most things. It's something that I really enjoy. But I know that if I'm working on repeat, it doesn't necessarily serve or support me to do that. So that is essentially a day in the life. I would love to know if you have any questions at this point. like I said, I guess if I were to share anything as kind of key takeaways, it's to know that for me, I'm probably more regimented and self-disciplined than I would usually be because I can't get outside, because I can't connect with anyone else. I'm 52% introvert, 48% extrovert on Myers-Briggs, and so I find that while I identify as being more of an introvert than an extrovert, I still really need people in my life to keep me feeling motivated and inspired. And without being able to get out to things like coffee shops and, it's just feeling the energy on the streets. I live down in South Fremantle in WA, and there's usually a buzz outside, but there's kind of none of that right now. So it's more about how can I structure my day so that I'm able to get that buzz and that energy that I wouldn't normally get. Something else that I want to share with you, and like I said, if you have any questions at all right now, please just pop below and I can answer them. But something else that I want to share with you is that I am popping together, and I'm sharing it. I'm just going to pop this in the comments. From next Monday, we as in Team Swift will be sharing something super, super exciting that we've been working on at this end. There is a mindset, well, I would say it's a course that is coming, and it's coming at a wildly affordable price. And so as of next week, you will be finding out more about a 4-day live stream free series that I'll be hosting in the lead up to opening the doors to that mindset course. Keep your ears to the ground around that, because it's only going to be available at that low cost price for a limited time before the price goes up. So if you want to be the first to find out about it, then I would recommend jumping on that list. Kirsten, right now I'm struggling to show up on video. Ever since we went into isolation, I've fallen off stories and feel hesitant to run online workshops and trainings, which I used to do easily. Any tips for moving past this? That's really interesting, because the first question I really want to know around that is that I would love to know why you believe you've fallen off that. Do you feel like you've kind of relaxed into almost feeling like you're on holiday mode? Where is that lack of inspiration coming from? If there's anything that's coming up for you there, I would love for you to share that with me, because obviously I can speak to that a little bit more. But my recommendation would be to get really clear about what a day looks like for you right now. So being super, super clear about how do you want to structure your day so that you're able to maximize it and get the best possible results for you. So when you do that, you'll know through using things like time blocking that it's like, well, this is just how today looks. Like there's no other options for me right now. I don't have an option to do this or chill out on the couch and read a book, or I don't have the option to do this or do other like busy work in the business, for example. So I would get really, really structured around what your days look like, knowing that life for you goes on as per normal. I've definitely found that because a lot of people are in a holiday mode right now, a lot of people who are in 9-to-5 jobs or had physical businesses are not actually working, and so there's kind of that energy of like, okay, we can be a little bit more like chill about things right now. That I've definitely been finding that I've just needed to remind myself that my life is still continuing on as per usual. I think it's not really holiday mode, but definitely fallen out of my usual energy and not feeling fully myself. Maybe lost a bit of clarity energy. Yeah, totally understand that. So in that case, what I would do is I would write out some goals and some planning for the next couple of months that will support you to feel purposeful about what it is that you're doing, so that you've got that energy and that motivation to be able to go, all right, I know what I'm working towards again. So knowing right now, it's really hard for us to plan long term because we don't know what isolation looks like. I wonder, Kirsten, whether it's good for you to create, say, a 14 or a 21 day plan for, okay, over the next 14 to 21 days, I want to feel X, I want to have X, and the way that I'm going to do it is X. So how you want to feel, what you want your goals to look like, messages coming right now, how you want to feel, what you want it to look like, and what you're going to do to achieve that. So I'm really curious to know whether that feels good for you or whether that feels like you to move forward right now, because I know when we're obviously more goal focused and goal oriented and we're on a path to something, then it's so much easier for us to create that energy, because ultimately what we have to do is we have to self-ignite now, because we're not able to get that energy or that clarity from anywhere else. Wonderful. I'm glad that helps. Such a pleasure. Paige, I'm finding more important now than ever. The structure for my day, time blocking has been something I've been implementing in the past week and a half since the school term started. So easy to just work and work and work. Yep, totally. And you know, that I see that so often with clients who are all high performing women, that desire to just keep going and keep working and keep showing up is really strong. But what I also know to be true is that it's not serving if we continue to do that, because we're not actually doing great work when we continue to show up for long periods of time in the way in which we work. So I love that you're implementing time blocking, and I'm so glad that is helping it for you, beautiful Paige. All right, loves, I'm going to wrap things up, but please make sure you're on the wait list for that program if that feels good for you. I can't wait to share this. It's going to be self-study, and I'm basically just opening up the doors to all the mindset stuff, all the mindset work that I do and have done for years and years and years, which is essentially the secret, if we're going to use that hilarious word that people on the internet like to use, is essentially the secret to how I built my business. It's 100% been about tapping into that mindset work first and foremost. So I'm really excited to release that. You will find out more about what that all looks like from Monday next week. And I will speak to you all soon. Have really beautiful days. And if you're watching the replay and you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to pop up below and I'll come back and answer them for you. Bye for now. Big love.